Hari Om. Before we begin, bring any kind of padding that you might need to stay quite comfortable at the end of the class. And also we'll be practicing relaxation. So if you feel you might get cold, then have some coverings ready. And before we start with a little introduction, let us become comfortable now in preparation for a short Shantipat. Adjusting the whole posture, finding a comfortable way to sit. Any way is okay for now. Placing the hands on top of the knees in a mudra, in a hand position. And with the eyes still open, make any adjustments that are necessary so that the spine becomes upright. The abdomen can open, the upper abdomen especially, if you feel any tightness in this area. Elevate the whole body upwards, chest forward and upwards, rolling the shoulders back. And if you habitually place the palms down, try to turn the palms up, just for the experience. The tip of the index fingers is firmly connected with the root of the thumb, so that you feel a distinct sensation in this area, and the three outstretched fingers are touching each other, but they are relaxed also. And then, when all these adjustments have been made, gently close the eyes and begin to observe the position of the body from within through feeling. Feel the contact between the base of the body and the floor, and feel that the weight of the body is spreading out evenly from the buttocks to the knees. The whole base of the body. Feel the contact with the floor and relax the legs completely. Be aware of the tailbone area and slowly begin to move the awareness up through the spine, vertebra by vertebra, even visualizing the back, using your imagination as if there was a mirror, front and back, and you can observe your own back. Adjusting the posture in a subtle way, if you find that it can be made more upright without much effort. Be aware of the middle of the back, the shoulder blades, the top, the back of the neck, and the point where the spine joins the skull. The imaginary line of the spine then continues to the top back of the head. Feel this point elevating upwards towards the ceiling, and the whole back can then relax, the arms also and the shoulders. Complete relaxation in the arms, the front, the back of the body, the face and head. Shifting now the focus to the breath, observing the movement in the front of the body without making any changes to its natural rhythm. Let the experience of the breath, combined with the experience of the body, bring the mind right into the present moment, letting go of the whole day that just passed, preparing mentally for the upcoming class. Bringing now the focus in between the eyebrows, with the eyes and eyelids quite relaxed. Visualize a tiny flame burning in between the eyebrows. Think of a tiny candle flame in a dark room, no flickering, just steady light, spreading everywhere. as we gaze upon this flame, let us chant the mantra Om 3 times all together. Take a deep breath in. Please repeat after me. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Externalizing the awareness, bring the palms together in front of the chest and rub them vigorously until you feel heat building up. Then cup the eyes and feel the heat relaxing the eyes, entering the eyes and eyelids. Then slowly remove the hands and open your eyes. Hari Om Tat Sat. Welcome everyone to this sample class for our new course. I will give you a little introduction, even though many of you, if not all of you, will have heard some of this at least before. The meditation in yoga is just like everything else in yoga. It is a path as well as the practice. We are trying not to just have a nice experience during the meditation session, but by the regular practice of the various techniques, we are training the mind to acquire a new habit, a healthier habit, particularly the habit of constant observation, so that we are more aware, or in the common parlance today, more mindful, even though we like to use the word awareness more, and also to be able to observe and decide as to how to let the mental energies manifest rather than just going with the whims of the undisciplined mind. And also we need to remember that in yoga, meditation is part of the path of Raja Yoga, which has certain steps and is a certain path. And any kind of effects that we seek from the various meditative techniques, such as reduction of stress or better focus and so on, or better sleep and so on, all of these are useful and pleasant byproducts. But actually, Raja Yoga is a very complete path, and it leads us to the attainment or the realization of our full potential as human beings. And one word of caution, perhaps. There are some contraindications to meditation. It should not be done when, or it should be treated with caution when the personality is already quite introvert, or even if there is a tendency for depression, in which case different types of yoga practices should be used until that state is managed. Because the meditative techniques by themselves can actually aggravate this extreme introversion, and we need to see meditation therefore in a wider context of yoga. And Raja Yoga as a path is designed to deal with the so-called kleshas, or afflictions, and overcome these afflictions, all of them. And in this way, it can be seen as a path towards the complete transcendence of all problems in life that are related to our own physical and mental being, and that we can influence. So of course there are types of afflictions that come from the external environment and so on, which would be hard to manage through our own efforts. But a yogi will only ever suffer those afflictions rather than the ones that can be managed and should be managed for a happier and more fulfilled life. So what are these kleshas? They are 5 in number. They start with ignorance as the original cause of all suffering. From ignorance comes ego identification, or asmita, the self-obsession. And from that arises the twofold current of attraction and repulsion, between which the mind oscillates all the time, preventing us from experiencing inner peace. And at the final stage, we have what is known as abhinivesha, fear of death or fear of disconnection from the material identification. And these are all very much present in our life at all times. Sometimes, many times, we know what is good for us, we know what is bad for us, but we are attached to what we know rather than to what is good for us. And this is the aspect of the abhinivesha, the clinging to what we know, what we identify with in the material realm. And in the process of Raja Yoga, we go through 8 steps, which help us to disconnect temporarily during the practice from all these, and experience the peace and the luminosity and the strength within. And then we have a positive feedback loop, that this behavior is then translated into our daily lives, and we then develop a kind of dual awareness of on one level being part of the world, being part of all the relationships and interactions in the world, but at the same time being always in contact with that stillness, with that peace. And we get more and more able to protect it against the disturbances that we often experience in life. And thereby we become more harmonious, more peaceful in general. So just as a quick overview, Raja Yoga starts with the modification of our interactions with the outside world. This is known as yama. And then the second step, or rather on the same level, we have these 2 steps, the external behaviors and also the internal behaviors, the niyamas, that we cultivate in order to harmonize the personality, and that will then allow us to continue on the path. Then we have perfect body stillness, which is known as asana. This is different from the hatha yoga asanas, which are often dynamic. In Raja Yoga, it simply means no movement in the body. This is very important. And for this reason, when we start to meditate, especially as beginners, we should always make sure that we have sufficient padding, that we are quite comfortable, even use a chair if need be, just so that we can remain really, really still. And thereby we are more able to work with the mind when the body is not distracting us. From that follows pranayama, which again in Raja Yoga means reduction of breath, even stopping the normal breathing process at the highest stage of the practice. This can be experienced for a few moments. Many of you might have had the experience already after a prolonged period of mantra chanting, for example, the body simply doesn't need to continue the normal breathing process, and therefore the movement of energy inside the body is very much pacified, and that allows the mind to really go inwards. And the most important point, the most important step that we are going to be working with is called pratyahara, or withdrawal of the senses from the objects to which they are normally automatically drawn all the time. All the practices that we do belong to this step, whether it's deep relaxation, whether it's meditation, all of them begin at this stage, and just by practicing them more and more deeply, for longer and longer periods, we then reach the higher step, which is dharana, or concentration. And in our practice, we start with the awareness of dharana, as in we are trying to focus on something, then the mind will go away from that, and we again bring it back. And again, dissipation, again, concentration. And this step is to be practiced until the concentration becomes more than the dissipation, and then our awareness will begin to flow in a unified flow, and that is known as dhyana. And eventually, when this system is followed for a long period of time, then the final step, or samadhi, is the complete transcendence of the whole lower mind, of the whole thinking mind, and then we can move on very far in spiritual life and in life in general. It is still not the final goal of yoga, unlike what many people say, but it is a very high achievement to be aspired for. And yogic meditation, we should remember, is not an intellectual process. We are not trying to think ourselves into any kind of experience. We are not trying to induce any kind of experience through an intellectual process, but rather we are trying to bypass the mind by various techniques that relate with the body, the breath. Then we use various mantras and so on, so that the intellectual process can be transcended, and we can work directly with the energy that powers that process and make it more calm, make it more steady. Like the flame of a candle. When the candle flame flickers, then we can't really see, it doesn't illumine the space around it. It needs to be pacified so that the light can spread out evenly, and then we can see much more clearly what is happening both in our own lives and also outside. And just a few more notes about how this course will be structured. First, we will start with a deep relaxation, just so that we can easily let go, or more easily let go, of the various stresses and the various activities of the day, and be more present for the actual practice. Then we'll move on to some loosening practices from the Pawan Muktasan series, just to take care of the seated posture. Of course, ideally we have a much more comprehensive yoga program going on a regular basis, but in this class we will just do the joint loosening and a few more other stretches so that we can sit really comfortably. And again, the pranayama will be used to lengthen the breath and to thereby get more oxygen on the physical level also into the body, for the mind to be more capable of the various processes that will be guiding it in, but also to calm the nervous system, to balance it. And then the process of steadying the body and going into the actual experience of meditation will be made much more easy. And this will also be helped with a few simple mantras such as Om and Soham. Again, a lot more mantras can be done, as you know, in different places, but here we'll just work with these two. So without further ado, I'd like to invite you to lie down in Shavasana in a comfortable way. spreading the whole body evenly throughout the floor. And making sure that you can stay without any movement for some time. Also without getting cold or otherwise uncomfortable. In Shavasana, the feet are separated evenly from the center and completely relaxed. The arms are by the sides, equal distance away from the sides, with the palms facing up. The head, neck, and spine are brought into an alignment. Feel this alignment and make any movements as necessary to achieve it. Loosening any tight parts, removing any heavy or tight objects from the body, whether a belt or glasses or anything like that. And then, once the body has been brought into a state of stillness, feel the contact between the body and the floor. Loosening anything that you find is still tight anywhere in the body, whether in the back, the limbs, the head or face. Focusing on the most obvious areas of tightness, the joints, the big muscles, the head, facial muscles. Spending some time relaxing the forehead, the temples. Feel the area around the ears and the jaw release. And then take your awareness to the back of the head. Feel the contact between the back of the between the back of the head and the floor. Just this part. Be aware of the neck, relaxing the neck completely, and let the head sink into the floor by its own weight. Feel the contact between the back of the head and the floor, the weight of the head against the floor. Moving on to the shoulder blades. Observe the contact between the shoulder blades and the floor, the space between the shoulder blades and the shoulders. Feel this whole area loosening and feel the space between the shoulder blades connected with the floor. Experience this contact. Feel the sensations. Let this whole area loosen up completely. The backs of the arms, the backs of the legs. Experience the contact between the limbs and the floor. The buttocks and the floor. These muscles that are used so much during the day, let them relax completely now. Feel the hips loosening, the feet falling freely to the sides. And from this area, spread the awareness again evenly throughout the whole back. Feel the whole plane of contact between the back of the body and the floor. The whole plane of contact. Feel that the floor is giving way to the body, as if the body was made from solid, heavy material that is so heavy that it's sinking into the floor and completely limp. Feel the limbs and the head so loose, so limp, that even if you wanted to move right now, you couldn't. Like the limbs of a rag doll, completely relaxed, sinking into the floor. Now, from the back, shift the focus to the front of the body, in contact with the surrounding air and space. Observe the whole front of the body, as if there was a big mirror suspended above you, and you can observe the whole front, the reflection of the whole body in this mental mirror. The natural expression in the face, the clothing that you're wearing, the gentle movement of breath in the abdomen and chest. Visualize this movement and also feel it inside the body. Feel this natural pulse of the breath without making any changes to it. Let it continue in the same way that you found it in. The whole body is observed and the stillness in it, and at the same time, the movement of breath in the front. When you inhale, feel the coolness spread from the nostrils and the throat all the way into the body, bringing fresh energy into every cell of the body. As you exhale, feel every last area or point of tightness loosen, sink into the floor beneath you. Every cell of the body becomes more energized when you inhale and more relaxed when you exhale, without changing the rhythm of the breath at all. Keep on practicing this for a few moments, and if the mind wanders to anything else, gently bring it back to the experience of the body and the breath, again and again if need be. Now, begin to visualize the room around you with the eyes closed. Remember the position of the body on the floor. Visualize the various objects in the room, the floor beneath the body, the walls, the ceiling. See your body in the room, as if looking at it from outside. Externalizing the awareness, begin to hear the sounds from outside. And very slowly, very gently, start moving the toes, moving the feet, the fingers and hands. Then slowly and gradually increasing the movement in the whole body until you feel ready to take a deep breath in and stretch the whole body in any way that you like. And then with the eyes still closed, rolling over onto your right side slowly. And from there, making your way into a comfortable seated posture. And only once you are fully upright and the mind has been fully externalized, slowly and gently opening the eyes. Hari Om Tat Sat. We shall now begin the loosening process. First, we'll start with ankle rotations. So sitting up in the base pose, supporting the back so that it can remain upright without any effort. Separate the feet about 10 centimeters away from each other, and then bring the soles of the feet towards the floor. Then begin to rotate the feet, trying not to move the knees, isolating the movement just into the ankles. If you know this practice well, then you can also synchronize with the breath. Otherwise, just focus on the movement itself, maximizing it without any force or strain. Looking at the feet first, and then slowly closing the eyes once you're familiar with the movement. Feel the movement inside the ankles. All the little ligaments around the joint, the muscles, all the physical movements. But don't forget to breathe also. Turning now the feet into the opposite direction. If you're synchronizing the breath, the inhalation happens when the feet come towards the body, and the exhale when the soles come towards the floor. One more round in this direction, and then let the feet fall to the sides, let them separate, and observe the sensations in the ankles for a few moments with the eyes closed, watching out for any tingling sensations, and making sure the ankles and the feet are quite loose. Then we'll move on to the knees when you're ready. First the right knee, hugging the thigh loosely so that you can straighten the leg without any effort. Keeping the back upright, begin to rotate the right leg, this time synchronizing with the breath, inhaling as the foot goes up, exhaling on the way down. Inhale up, exhale down. Take a good look at the knee and observe the movement of the foot in the air. It's not going to be perfectly circular, but then as you gradually close the eyes, in your mind's eye, it becomes circular. With the eyes closed, it is easier to observe the movement inside the knee. And as you coordinate the movement and the breath, feel that the breath is moving inside the knee, making it more supple round after round. Opposite direction now, anti-clockwise. Feel that the rest of the body is quite still, just the lower leg is moving. Relaxing the knee after the compression that it was subjected to throughout the day. Flexible knees, ankles and hips are quite important to be able to sit in a meditative posture comfortably. for long periods of time. Now straightening the right leg, repeat the same on the left side. Back upright, clockwise movements with the left leg. The whole body being steady, the entire movement is concentrating into the knee joint only. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Maximum movement without force or strain, especially when the leg is moving sideways. Every now and again you may hear a little pop in the knee, and generally that is okay, but if it keeps on repeating, then please discontinue the practice. Going now into the opposite direction. And after the round you're doing now, let both legs spread out in front, support the back with the arms, and let the legs and feet flop to the sides, completely relaxed. Feel the sensations in the knees and around the knees, in the thighs. Observing the breath at the nose tip at the same time, helping the mind to stay focused at all times, even between practices. Moving on now to the hips, when you're ready. Bending the right leg, bring the foot to the opposite thigh, and if possible, on top of the opposite thigh. Keeping it quite loose, only do the movement using the right arm. Hold the ankle firmly with the left hand, and then inhale as the knee comes towards the chest. Exhale and push the knee towards the floor. Those of you who are already quite flexible in this area can make this more challenging by pulling the foot further over the thigh. It helps to have the eyes closed here. Feel into the hip joint and feel that every time you exhale and the knee is gently being pushed down, the knee is nearing the floor more and more, but there should be no discomfort experienced or pain. The whole leg quite loose, the right arm is doing all the movement. Then slowly straightening the leg and repeating the same on the left side. The lower back should be kept upright. You can achieve this easily by pulling on the ankle with the hand that you're holding it with, and then inhale up, knee to the chest, exhale, knee towards the floor. Sometimes when the arm is a little weak, the leg will want to help, but try to keep the leg relaxed completely. Passive movement of the left hip. You can deepen the breath here to allow more oxygen to flow into the body and help the hip joint relax more and more. After the next round, again slowly straightening the leg, first bringing the knee on the floor, then bringing it up and straightening the leg. Shaking the knees a little, then bring both feet together, pull the feet as close as you can to the body, and again keeping the back upright, using the arms, then slow movements. First, increasing the movement as you find suitable to release the hips and the inner thighs. Breathing normally here. Again, the awareness will become easier if the eyes are closed. Feel that every time you exhale, the hips are loosening more and more. For added challenge in this practice, you can slowly bend forward from the hips and you should feel more stretch in the inner thighs. But there's no rush. Bringing the knees back together now, going back into the base pose, and observing what's happening in the whole lower body after these practices. With some practice, the legs will become lighter, as it were. This is on account of the energy that has been freed from the joints. Observe any experiences after these simple practices. And the breath flowing at the nose tip. For the next practice, any seated position will do. Either Vajrasana, like this, sitting on the heels, whether directly or using padding under the buttocks, or any cross-legged posture in which the back can remain upright. We will now loosen the shoulders. A very important aspect also. This is where a lot of tension gets concentrated. So let's loosen them up by bringing the tips of the fingers on the shoulders. And then deep breath in as the elbows go back and then up. Deep breath out as they go forward and together. Deep breath in, deep breath out. 3, 3, 4, 4. If the eyes are open, gradually close them. 5, 5. And visualize the elbows making large circles in the air. 6, 7. Exhale. 8, 9, 10. Opposite direction. 1. Feel the opening there. 2. The whole shoulder sockets moving maximum. 3. But without strain. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. And let the arms rest. Place the hands on top of the knees, on top of the thighs, whichever position you're in. With the eyes closed, feel the effects of the practice and feel how the shoulders are quickly relaxing after the movement. And so is the heartbeat and the breath. The breath awareness will help you always remain aware. This is where the mind is brought back to anytime it may start thinking of any other place or activity or time. Then lifting the whole body up on the knees, tucking the toes under to elevate the heels. We'll practice Ardha Ustrasana, the half camel pose. The arms go at shoulder level and then bring the right hand in contact with the right heel and feel a gentle backward bend in the whole body without twisting to the right. Try to keep the whole body facing forward. Breathe normally here. And after a few breaths, switch sides. Feel the whole shoulder and the whole side of the trunk gently bend and stretch. Feel the navel being pulled forward, using the hand that's at the back as an anchor rather than support. Keep on going at your own pace, and if this is quite easy for you, you can make it slightly more challenging by bringing the feet down. Then you have somewhere further to reach. But feel the stretch in the whole arm, this whole upper shoulder area loosening and stretching. Keep on breathing. And after the round you're doing now, just one more to each side. Making sure you stay the same amount of time on either side for perfect balance. Then slowly bring the buttocks down into the heels and slowly spread the whole body into Shashank Asana, the child's pose, in which the forearms are on the floor, the forehead is on the floor. If the forehead doesn't comfortably reach the floor, make stacks with your fists or use padding under the head. Whichever way you can be in the posture for a short time to relax the whole body completely and allow the spine to stretch forward. Feel the contact between the abdomen and the thighs, and as the breath continues freely, feel this alternating pressure and relaxation against the thighs. Then, for a short relaxation before we move on to the breathing practices, we'll stay in the flapping fish pose, Matsya Kridasana, in which the left knee and the left elbow are connected. The right side of the head is on the floor. First, making all the adjustments that are necessary for us to stay comfortably in this posture. Then relax completely, and with the eyes closed, observe the contact between the front of the body and the floor. In the beginning, this is just a physical experience. But over time, you will discover that the contact between the front of the body and the floor has a certain psychological effect also. Discover what that is for yourself. Let go completely of the whole weight of the body. Surrender the whole body to the floor, specifically the right side. Be aware of the contact between the face and the floor. Let there be nothing tight anywhere. If you feel that you need to keep any muscular effort anywhere, simply adjust the posture for better comfort. Observe the breath moving in the body, in the abdomen, in the chest. Every time you exhale, feel the relaxation and the surrender deepen. Without opening the eyes, slowly prepare to shift to the other side and make any adjustments in the beginning that you need to stay comfortable. Then remain quiet, motionless, except for the movement of natural breath. The awareness is between the body and the floor, and with the breath. The natural tendency of the mind is to wander, not to stay focused for any length of time, and this is okay. But every time you find yourself thinking of anything else, gently and patiently bring the awareness back to the contact between the body and the floor and the movement of the breath. And now, preparing to release this posture, also mentally first prepare to come up into a seated posture, and then make the movements physically, keeping the movements to the minimum. Even moving between practices with full awareness, economically. And then prepare to sit upright for a prolonged period of time. This means that you may want to fold the mat in half so that the ankles don't experience much discomfort. And if you know that your hips and legs are not that flexible, feel free to use any amount of padding that you need. I will just exaggerate this for you. Even if you end up sitting with the thighs at a 45-degree angle, that's okay. Even if ultimately the position is something like this. It's good as long as the lower back can be upright without having to make the effort to keep it that way. So whatever it takes for you to remain upright with the tailbone felt in a straight line all the way to the top back of the head. Please make those adjustments now. Gradually, as the flexibility in the legs increases, of course, the padding can be reduced. If you have been practicing cross-legged postures for some time, then perhaps it's time to find the classical way to sit, such as Siddhasana, in which the heel one of the heels is directly underneath the body, and then the other heel, for the easy version, is in front of it, or for the full version, is on top of the pubic bone. And then the foot is wedged in between the lower leg and the thigh. This is the posture that we'll be working with or working on. The toes are then pulled in between the other leg. This posture is mentioned in the Hatha Yoga Pradipik as the best asana there is, not just for meditation but in general, because it redirects the energy from the two lowest psychic centers or chakras upwards, and this helps a lot with the process of meditation. We can talk about the chakras at a different time later on, but for now, any version of this seated posture is to be acquired, or if none of this is possible, simply sit in any cross-legged posture that is comfortable, using all the padding that you need. Before we begin the process of meditation, let us do some deep breathing. We'll practice full yogic breath by bringing the hands on top of the thighs, quite close to the hips, making sure that the lower back stays upright no matter how you're sitting. Then take a deep breath out, squeezing the abdomen, and then let it expand as you inhale. Then the chest expands, and then when you feel that you can't take any more air in, like this, then you start pushing against the thighs, elevating the collarbones and the sternum upwards and forwards, stretching the lungs gently but fully, and then releasing that pressure as you exhale, letting the chest come back to its normal shape, and squeezing the abdomen at the end. Deep breath in, abdomen, chest, shoulders and collarbones. Deep breath out, collarbones, chest and abdomen. If the eyes are open, slowly close them and focus on the expansion and contraction of the lungs, filling the lungs to full capacity, stretching all the little air sacs that form the lungs, especially at the top where we are normally quite hunched and this part of the lungs is not utilized properly. Then exhaling, squeezing the belly at the end. Continuing like this, making the breath even. Feel the flow of the breath also in the throat. And feel that this flow is even from beginning to middle to end, both when you inhale and when you exhale. As the breath is becoming deeper, also make it slower. Just one more breath like this. And then relax and let the breath continue freely. Place the hands on top of the knees in a mudra. The mudras or the hand positions that will be used are the simple ones where the index finger is curled to the root of the thumb, the fingers are outstretched and then relaxed, and then the palms are turned upwards or downwards. When they're downwards, it's called Jnana Mudra. When they're upwards, it's called Chin Mudra. Whichever position you have chosen, feel the contact between the hands and the knees with the eyes closed. And discovering the best position for the hands to be in relation to the shoulders and the general comfort in the body. You shouldn't feel that the arms are pulling you forward, straining the shoulders. If that is the case, if the elbows can't relax completely, then adjust the position. Feel the pressure of the tips of the index fingers against the roots of the thumbs. And the contact between the back of the index fingers and the inside of the thumbs. And check that you don't need to make any effort to keep the hand in this position. The fingers are locked, as it were, and then you can just leave them like that. Relax the hands and the arms completely. Rolling the shoulders back. Feel that there is no hunch, there is no bending in the upper back. And then bring the awareness right down into the legs. Feel that the weight of the body is spreading evenly throughout the whole base, the legs and the buttocks. You can swivel or rock the body gently, side to side, forward and back. And in between these movements, find a perfect center for the spine to stay in. Neither too much forward or backward, or tilted to either side. Relaxing the legs, the buttocks completely. Using only those muscles that need to be used to maintain the uprightness in the posture, relaxing everything else. Slowly and gradually. Be aware of the whole back, starting from the buttocks and the tailbone area. Feel the whole lower back loosen, the middle of the back, the shoulder blades, shoulders. Be aware of both arms hanging loosely from the shoulders, anchored by the hands. No tension anywhere in the arms. Then again, take your awareness to the feet and legs, this time from the front. The groin area. If you find anything tense, focus on that area for a few moments and let it release. The lower abdomen, the navel, the upper abdomen, the chest. Relaxing any tension from the front so that the movement of breath can continue unimpeded. Then begin to observe the sensations in the neck, back of the head, top of the head. Feel the skin on the top of the head spread out to all sides from the center. The same on the right side, the whole right side of the head. The ear, the temple, the jaw. The left side. The forehead. The eyebrows. The space in between the eyebrows. The eyelids. the eyes, the cheeks, nose, the lips. Feel the lips very gently closed, and be aware of the fine line of contact between the two lips. The contact between the tip of the tongue and the upper row of teeth, or the upper palate. The fine line of contact between the eyelids. And now, become aware of the whole body together. The sensations in the skin, from top of the head to the soles of the feet. Be aware of the whole surface of the skin and the space inside the skin, the whole space of the body. There are various movements, pulsations in this whole space of the body. But you are just being aware now of the space itself. If you find any movements, swaying, shaking in the body, observe it. Don't try to stop it by any physical force, but observe how they are slowing down or stopping as the practice continues. Shift the focus to the front of the body. Visualize the front of the body. Imagine that there is a full-length mirror just a few feet in front of the body, and you can observe the sensation, you can observe the whole front of the body in this mental mirror, along with the sensations in this part. See the expression in the face, the clothing that you're wearing, the legs, the trunk, the arms, exactly as you are. Moving this mental mirror to the right side, see the reflection of the body from the right side. See the profile of your face, the right ear, shoulder, arm, leg, the whole right side. And the left side. Shift the focus to the left. Feel the whole left side of the body also. And the back. See the whole body from the back. From below, as if sitting on a thick pane of glass, observing the base of the body from below. And now, from above, see the top of the head, the shoulders, the whole body from above. Become aware of the whole body together from all sides at once, developing a three-dimensional image of your own body. And also the awareness of sensations. See the whole body from all sides. Now take your awareness to the base, just the base of the body, in contact with the floor. Whatever movement there may be in other parts of the body, the base is perfectly still, thanks to its contact with the floor. Experience this. Complete stillness, complete motionlessness. Think of the legs as the roots of a large tree. A tree that is firmly rooted in the ground, full of life, but completely motionless, just like the body right now. Think of a tree, a very large tree, with a thick trunk, big branches, large roots going deep into the ground. And become that tree, for now. The trunk of the body is like the trunk of the tree. The arms, the major branches. The head, the crown of the tree. The hairs on the body, the leaves. Feel the body becoming rock solid, just like that tree. The only movement in this stillness is that of the breath. Observe it as a spontaneous experience, unrelated to and not disturbing the stillness. Continue for some time. The tree doesn't need to make any effort to be completely still. And neither do you, right now. If a desire comes to move, simply observe that urge without acting on it. Starting to pay closer attention to the movement of breath, without letting go of the body, without focusing on the breath exclusively. Observe this movement, whether in the nostrils, the throat, anywhere where this experience takes your mind. Observe this pulsation, this natural rhythm, whether it's even and regular, deep or shallow, not doing anything about it except observing it. Observe your own body breathe. If the tendency is too strong to control the breath, then shift the focus more again to the body and its stillness. The sensations in the skin, the contact between the body and the floor. Let the breath return to its natural rhythm. Let the body breathe in any way it wants to. As you're witnessing the stillness and the movement at the same time, identify with the witnessing aspect of your mind. I am the witness. I am the observer. I don't do anything. I observe. Even if any feelings or thoughts come, the observer is beyond those too. Observing the breath, observing the body, observing any other activity, the senses. But wherever the mind may wander, always bringing it back to the body and the breath, letting everything else happen by itself. Becoming aware now of the space in front of the closed eyes. See the darkness in front of the closed eyes and anything that may be happening in this darkness. You may see lights, colors, images, or nothing at all. Doesn't matter. Let the mind rest in this space, known as Chidakash. Right in the center of it, between the eyebrows, start creating a mental image of a bright flame, a small bright candle flame. Feeling the presence of this source of light in between the eyebrows, prepare to repeat the mantra Om 3 times. As we do so, feel the vibration spreading throughout the whole body and beyond. Take a long deep breath in. externalizing the awareness now. Be aware of the whole body, the sensations, the contact between the skin and the clothing that you're wearing. At the same time, also of the room around you. The sounds around you. And the time of day. Very slowly, very gently begin to move. Keeping the eyes closed. Bring the palms of the hands together and rub them till you feel heat in the palms. Then cup the eyes gently without pressing directly on the eyeballs. Feel the heat spreading out into the eyes. If they feel a little tight after being closed for a long time, you can practice palming once more. And then gradually removing the palms, open your eyes. Hari Om Tat Sat. The practice of Kaya Sthairyam, body stillness, is now complete.